Good morning, good morning. It is the 8th of the 8th, 2026. How are you all doing this morning? I hope you can see me, hope you can hear me. I'm back in Durham, as you can see. Well, I don't know, I could just be in any room anywhere, couldn't I, really? But no, I am in Durham. Hello, everyone in the chat. We've got Sarah in the chat, we've got Shropshire Chris, we've got Townsend, we've got Diz, we've got Ryan Burke, and we've got Simon Smith. Hello, Sarah Davis. If you'd like to join our friendly friends in the friendly chat, just hit the friendly subscribe button and wait for approximately one of your minutes, and you'll be able to join in with the conversation. We're going to be running through the headlines of the day, having a discussion about it. It's a two-way street, so tell me what you think as we're talking about these different things that are going on around the world. One thing I will stress, though, is please don't let it get overwhelming. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of this shit doesn't matter. I mean, you know, the stuff that affects your life personally, yeah, absolutely that matters. But stuff like, I don't know, what Trump's doing in America and the national fucking debt and all this kind of stuff and the spaceships crashing into the moon, look, it doesn't matter. You know, in the great scheme of things, what matters is you and your life, okay? And if you're going to be stressed out about all these things that are happening around the world all at once that we don't have any power over, we can't change, it's not good for our mental health. So that's not to say you should stop watching. I mean, obviously, if your mental health's suffering because of all the absolute shit show of nonsense that's going on in your life as an effect of what's happening in wider society, absolutely take a break with my blessing. But otherwise, let's just try and get through it together. This is my therapy. Each morning. Go through the headlines and make sure that we understand what the hell is going on and have a bit of a laugh about it now and again. And just, very much stress that this is not normal. This is not, maybe I should change the name of the show to This Is Not Normal. And it could just be a picture of me, guys. This is not normal. Cavan lad. Hey, how you doing? Morning. Cavan lad, I think over in Wales, if I'm not grossly mistaken. I was driving home yesterday. And I was listening to Six Music, and they had a Welsh hour, Welsh bangers, and they played Faster by the Manic Street Preachers. So I was driving on my own, and just blasting it, just absolutely blasting it, singing along. It was great on a deserted country road with the windows up. I'm not going to scare the cattle, but it was really, really good. Catatonia, Stereophonics, I'm not that fond of, but they're all right. Super Fairy Animals, obviously, awesome band. All good. I once met Griff out of Super Fairy Animals, and he signed I had an access pass, and he signed it. He spells it Gruff because I obviously, we're very alike, you and I. Especially in Welsh. And he makes the U in his name into a little smiley face, which is really cute. Anyway, lovely bloke. This is not normal, says Diz. Yes, it's not normal. But there was a point that was made by Jason Pargan, who I really like, and I really recommend you follow him. He was known as David Wong when he wrote This Book Is Full of Spiders, which is a really good book, which then got made into a movie with Paul Giamatti, I think. I think Paul Giamatti was in it. He now goes by the name Jason Pargan. He did a video about how, for our generation, let's say if you're in your late 30s, if you're in your 40s, early 50s now, right? You grew up with all these movies in the 70s and the 80s, stuff like Soylent Green and Logan's Run and the Terminator. Well, not Terminator, Mad Max certainly. And we were bashed over the head by the fact that the world's population was getting too big. World population getting too big. It's the population bomb, they called it. Made everyone panic, run around going, oh, what are we going to do about the population bomb? There's not going to be enough food for everyone, which is Malthusian logic at the best of times. Look it up. And it turns out that by 2050, the population of the world will start decreasing. It's going to hit a high of about 10 billion, and then it's going to start decreasing. It's going to start going down. It's going to start, and now we're seeing articles about the depopulation bomb. Look out for the depopulation bomb! And it's like, you just want us to panic, don't you? But the thing that we should be concerned about, global warming. Oh no, that's just panic merchants making people panic. I love it when you get these newspapers, who constantly do pump out this bullshit about asylum seekers and trans women and and the EU and say, oh, yeah, quick, oh my God, they're coming to take away our polar bears and our toilets and our and our tea bags. They're coming to teabag us in the toilet with a polar bear. They're gonna make a tea bag. They're gonna make a polar bear teabag us in the toilet, and all these like absolutely hysterical stories. I mean, hysterically funny. I mean, like hysteria, like mass hysteria, cats and dogs living together, and these fucking idiots are sitting there going, oh, yeah, got to be very concerned about those people coming over in the boat. Got to be very concerned about those people in Ceuta in northern Africa because they came across the border. Yeah, they sent them all back. Yeah, but you never know. They might be able to get into Italy. How are they going to get into Italy? What were you even talking about? Oh, well, you got to stop them coming. But when it comes to climate change, like, oh, nothing to worry about. Stop being alarmist. The Daily Mail telling us to stop being alarmist. Are you kidding me? What the? Are we just in the parallel? Are we in the bad place? Are we? I think we are. I think we're in the bad place. Just going to move me mic. I realise I've got my little Count Bin face. I need to put him on here. Come on, Count Bin face. You can do it. Lovely. It's my little Citadel miniature of Count Baneface, which is awesome. I'll tell you what to panic about when to panic, said L. Yes, L, exactly. Hey, listen, I actually, on the way back as well, when I wasn't listening to the Welsh Hour, I listened to the James O'Brien show on Wednesday on Catch Up. Now, James O'Brien gets a lot of criticism from my trans friends for not talking about trans rights enough, and he made this big spiel. I mean, he went on for about 26 minutes without a break about how it's so difficult to talk about trans issues because trans people are not an issue. Trans people, trans rights. Let's say trans rights. It's a bit like talking about Israel. Everyone's got very, very strong emotions. And I was thinking about this, right? And do you know what? To give James O'Brien a bit of credit, it was a good hour. He had 3 people phone in. He had a non-binary person call in. He had a woman who was a cisgender woman, a woman who was born a woman, but suffered from a particular syndrome, which meant that she suffered from male pattern baldness and that she could grow a beard. And that she had been challenged in the toilets and stuff, and she was in tears, and it was awful. I mean, but at least they went there. At least they had that conversation. But yeah, this whole moral panic. Oh my God, trans people like that. No one gave a fuck about it 10 years ago, as I keep saying. It was just completely invented, and I don't think he went far enough into why this has happened, why this phenomenon has happened, and it's happened because of a lot of money coming in from the oil companies as a weapon of mass distraction. A weapon of mass distraction to stop us doing anything about climate change. And we're seeing today stories about the government having to pull back on net zero commitments, especially like things like electric cars. Now, with electric cars, I will say, right, now the electric cars of today are very different from the electric cars of the 90s, and anything that you hear people complain about with electric cars that was applicable in the 90s isn't really applicable today, right? Range anxiety, what range anxiety? I can charge the car up at my mum's with an extension cable. It takes all night, but whatever. In the morning, I don't need to use my car 24/7. It's fine. But I'm hoping that by 2030, just market forces alone, because I know that electric car drivers are, myself included, absolutely fucking insufferable because they're like, oh my God, this is so good. Why did I do this sooner? Because we weren't allowed to, because the oil companies stopped us doing this. In the same way that they stopped women playing football till the 1980s. They stopped women playing football. And if any team, here's the thing, right? So if any team in the FA Cup, in the FA, in the Football Association League, right? If any of them in the 1970s allowed a women's team to play on their pitch, Old Trafford or Anfield or wherever, right? They would be kicked out the FA. That's fucking mind-blowing, isn't it? It's absolutely mind-blowing. Anyway, Sorry, just to go back to the James O'Brien thing, I think that the positive message that I got from it, even though it is absolutely horrible what the fuckers from the Equalities and Human Rights Commission are putting trans people through, and non-gender conforming people through, you know, what they're doing is absolutely fucking disgusting and disgraceful, and what the Labour government are doing supporting it, you know, is abominable. But Baroness Faulkner, the TERF herself, who's now a member of the House of Lords or something, who kicked off this report, said, well, this can't be enforced. This can't be enforced. This can't be enforced. We don't have the resources. She said, we don't have the resources to protect women. That pissed me off. What the fuck? Yeah, because women need protecting from trans women. No, they don't. They need protecting from cisgender men who mean them harm. Like, I don't know, the fucking Met Police. But we'll get into that. Mass hysteria on subjects and authoritarian and MAGA types decide, as Graham says, weapons of mass destruction is horrible. Yeah, anyone who's running out of petrol has range anxiety. Well, exactly. 400 miles on one charge, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, I saw a TikToker talking about this, and she just went, what about what? I don't care about my range of my car. What's the range of my bladder? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. You know, who can drive for 6 hours without going for a piss? Jesus. Morning all. What has Trump done now? Oh, okay, Chris. Let's get into it. I'm doing a bit of a short show today. A short, sharp shock of a show. A short, sharp shocker of a show. With me in almost control. Because it is summer holidays still, and I'm really sorry. I know, like yesterday, it was a bit of a fuck up with Phil. I was 15 minutes late getting started, and I wasn't able to put up the thumbnail and the thing, just because I didn't know until literally 13 minutes past 1 yesterday that I could actually do the show. Because if we couldn't hear Phil, we couldn't do the show. And it was reinstalling. I spent an hour. I started trying to get the computer working on this because I knew there was a problem with the sound. Because we tried to play the video, didn't we, of the turfy woman, and I couldn't get the sound to work. So it was like reinstalling updates. I had to do a whole Windows update. I deleted drivers. I reinstalled drivers. I disabled sound devices on, and I was turning that off. It was like there was a whole list of troubleshooting things that I'd done, and by the time I got to the right thing, at the time I got to the thing that needed to be done in order to get Phil so we could actually hear him, I'd gone through 13 things on the list. 13 troubles. This might be the problem. It might be this problem, and I'm going into like, you know, the system prompt and typing shit in, and you know, control V-ing it from the internet of like, what is going on here? But yeah, really under the bonnet stuff. So it's a bit like, imagine you've got a big race, right? And your car won't fucking go, right? And you're under the bonnet and the race starts. Anyway, also last week, or this week, I was at my parents' house, and at one point I did have to go and help out my dad because he was having trouble coughing, so I had to sit him up and make sure he could cough properly. Yeah, we didn't know what time the carers were going to come. They just, because they might go, they go to different people's houses, and they might have someone who's difficult or someone who's got a bigger problem, and instead of getting there at 8 o'clock in the morning, they get in there at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm there in the room and I can't start my show. You know, hey, everyone, I'm talking about politics while they're looking after me dad and cleaning him up and stuff in the other end of the room. So I did my best. You know. I'm sorry that I know a few people were like, fucking hell, Gray, what is this? We're all over the shop. No wonder you're losing loads of viewers. And I'm like, well, you know, there might be other reasons for that. But what I've got here for you is a promise of confetti if we get 5 super chats in within the hour. Okay, I'm probably going to finish at 10:15. So just fair warning. You don't need to be sorry, entitled to a life away from YouTube. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I honestly, mate, I don't know whether it is my just ADHD or whether I don't want to blame everything on that, or whether it's just, you know, I always just feel guilty like all the time, like I'm constantly fucking up, like I'm constantly doing the wrong thing, and it's like, you know, I start my show 30 seconds late, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, you press the live button and it comes up like program cannot be started, and I'm like, I need to start it. get really stressed out. So yeah, thanks for that, Chris. No, I like to think I do my best. Anyway, let's talk about this Trump nonsense. Right, so this is the US being accused of meddling in Trump in British politics, and again, like with a lot of these things, imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if it was Labour spending £500,000 indoctrinating Americans into the joys of socialism or something. Right, not that Labour would do that because the US Embassy is offering grants of up to $500,000 for UK programs promoting shared Anglo-American values. I mean, you know, that's great if your name's Grant, I guess. But if your name isn't Grant, it's a bit shit. Priorities include freedom of speech, rule of law, limited government. Separate programs seek greater British support for US positions on, guess this, Israel and China, you know, bit of indoctrination there. The former US State Department officials, not the former, but former US State Department officials say this explicit ideological focus is highly unusual. Lisa Smart, the Lib Dem MP, has called it an attempted interference in British. I'm allergic to talking about Trump and his bullshit. So what it is, Lisa Smart has said it called it an attempted interference in British democracy. This is fucking horrific. I mean, you know, imagine if it was the other way around. And what they're doing, they're not offering these grants to universities, because at universities, I guess you learn critical thinking and how to do research and stuff. That's why people who have a college degree don't tend to vote for Trump. But they're going after charities and things. They're saying we're going to make this money available to charities. Well, do you know what's a charity? The LGB Alliance, that's a charity, apparently. It's a non-profit organization, well, whatever they call it. Do you know what I mean? They'll be able to apply for this money from America to indoctrinate people into their American bullshit. It's bad enough that our newspapers are all owned by foreign-based billionaires. You know, like, this is the more. They've got so much power, and it's never enough. And this is because fash is unnatural. You know, the fash is unnatural. It goes against the laws of nature. You have to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money keeping people on side. Because most people just want to live their lives, just get on with it and be fair and be nice to people. Most people, even if they're not nice, they want to be seen to be nice, you know? They don't want to be a horrible person that everyone hates who sits alone and just, you know, it's just mean and nasty. They don't want to be seen like that. Humans don't. We're societal creatures, you know? We like having our forums. We like having our chance to discuss things and in a friendly way, you know? Get our ideas out and things like that. Here's one, says Sarah. Oh, thank you, Sarah, for my first super chat of the weekend. Woohoo! Yes, thank you. Bimface says, what's that? Bimface says Sarah is the best. Sarah is the best. Apparently, there you go. You are the best. Do you know you're the best? Well, you are, Sarah. You're the best. You're the best. Thank you. There was a period before World War II in which women's football was very popular. Also, baseball used to be played at football grounds in the summer. Rugby league at Fulham and American football at Chelsea. Yeah. Watching Phil miming would be at least £20 super chat. At least hating the scary trans seems to be a shared value of these regimes. Yeah, Gallifreyan Ren. So whether it's Russia or America. But what's interesting is I believe, and you might be able to put me right on this, but what I believe is in Iran, because homosexuality is illegal in Iran, many homosexual men choose to live as women, and that's seen as more acceptable. It's like a little loophole. Do you know about the little loopholes they have in you know the way for a long time Christians couldn't lend money to each other, you know, neither a borrower or lender be, or something like that. And that's why in the Middle Ages, Jewish people were the only people who could lend money to people, and then they'd have to come and collect the money. And that's why one of the reasons why Jews were given so much shit, amongst others. But you know, they were like, oh, they're coming around, you know, they're effectively the bailiffs of the day. And then they found the wizard ways to get around that. Now, there are still some religions that don't allow for borrowing or lending. So, for example, Islam does not allow for borrowing or lending, right? So how do you get a mortgage for your house if you are a Muslim? Well, you get a special Muslim mortgage, which technically isn't a mortgage. They're not actually lending you money. You just pay the bank that you don't own the house. You just pay the bank each month. I think this is the way it works. And then when you've paid it off, you have paid enough money to the bank. So the bank buys the house effectively, which is kind of what happens with the mortgage. But it's not seen as like you owe this money. And if you walk away, well, the house is owned by the bank. You haven't paid enough money into it. So it is kind of, but it's doing it on a technicality. And in Iran, during the Iran-Iraq war, there were a lot of brothels that grew up in Iran along the sort of towns that were on the battlefront. And they would get around the no adultery rules in the Quran. And what they'll do is they would have these ceremonies where they would marry a prostitute. This is true. They would marry a prostitute, right? So you go into the brothel and you'll marry your prostitute, have sex with her, and then you'll get divorced on the way out, or your marriage will get annulled on the way out. And so it was all hunky-dory in the eyes of God. I often think about this, and what is it? The Pope, the Pope, the richest man in the world. He owns a fucking bank. He owns a basilica on the top of a hill in Rome. Do you know what I mean? He lives in a fortress. He lives in a four-poster mahogany bed. He wears clothes woven with gold. He's not a poor person. But technically, the money isn't his. Technically, it's in the Vatican Bank. He owns his own bank, but it's not the Pope's. Technically, it's not the Pope's. And you can imagine all these people, the Iranian who had sex with all these prostitutes, and the people who got a mortgage when they were told not to, the Pope standing there going, no, but I was poor, and they're standing there at the gates of heaven, and they're all like trying to argue their case. No, we found the sneaky loophole around your rules, Mr. Inventor of the universe. And you're kind of like, I don't know, mate. Did they all think they're gonna have like, what was his name? Clarence Darrow, was it? The guy who did the Scopes monkey trial. They're going to have him as the lawyer, on the gate to heaven. Kimberly, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. No apologies. You're a good man and a good son. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. I'm not really. But I'm trying to be. Thank you. Chris says, I'm sorry, but religious institutions, private education, and think tanks should not be allowed to have charity status. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. As King Lear said, let copulation thrive. Did he say that? So I don't know if you noticed this story yesterday, but Tories are proposing a social housing ban for foreign nationals. This could lead to 230,000 homes affected. Existing tenants caught by the proposal will be given 6 months to leave. And shelters, just like Shelter the Homeless charity, it's just like, this is going to increase costs for councils. It's going to increase homelessness. Why would you want to do this? And it's Tories trying to out-refuck. Along with leaving the European Convention of Human Rights. Meanwhile, the arrests for illegally working people who shouldn't be working in this country has more than doubled. So there's been 17,000 arrests, and 2,357 people have subsequently been deported. So this is the thing: like Labour aren't massively, going, all the problems are caused by migrants, but they are at the same time making it very difficult to live as a migrant in this country illegally. And they're not getting any credit for it. This is why I don't think they should bother. What's the point? What's the fucking point? Just make some safe routes. That'll stop the boats, And if people are working here illegally, give them a program that they can work through to actually start working here legally, 2,357 people being deported costs a lot of money. When you could say, right, here's your temporary national ID number, right? Your national insurance number, sorry, not national ID number. Here's your national insurance number, your temporary one, and you can work for a year. And if you pay X amount in tax, then we'll let you stay. There you go. That's the problem solved. No, not solved, but it would be a better idea than just spending money on getting rid of workers. Anyway, meanwhile, there's been race riots in Belfast. The Guardian investigation examines the anti-immigrant violence that followed the stabbing in June. That minority ethnic homes and businesses and vehicles were attacked. Loyalist and far right networks helped organise and amplify the unrest. Does this come as a surprise to anyone? Like the unionists were like, never really understood why the loyalists were called the loyalists. Because surely, what about the people who are loyal to Ireland? Aren't they loyalists? Never really got that. Maybe it's just me. Unionists. The name unionists. It's got to sound like you want to unite Ireland, but it doesn't. It means they want to stay with the UK. But it sounds like they might want to unite Ireland, right? What do you want? I want a union. Who with? The rest of Ireland. I'm just saying, like. Anyway, social media, misinformation, and AI-generated material played a significant role in the riots. And this is the third consecutive summer of serious race-related disorder in Northern Ireland, which is really, really shit. But it's being pushed by people like Elon Musk on their social media platforms. Misinformation. The Farage riots in Southport, where he went out and he said, that the person who's been caught is an immigrant. He wasn't an immigrant. He was born in Wales. But meanwhile, Russian strikes have killed 3 people near Kyiv overnight. 3 people have been killed, including a child, and 3 others injured. And Ukraine is still reporting a shortage of systems capable of intercepting ballistic missiles. Pretty good on stopping the drones, but the ballistic missiles pose a unique problem that really need to be solved with these anti-missile missiles that track missiles as they come in. The kind of thing that the funding for the Iron Dome in Israel it seems to be unlimited, whereas the funding for protecting Ukrainians is not. It's funny that, isn't it? Meanwhile, I've talked about Taiwan rehearsing defense against coastal attack. But there's another story here about Greenland. We're going back to Greenland for a moment. There's a Greenland Energy has begun moving equipment towards Jameson Land ahead of proposed drilling in Greenland. Greenlandic authority says the company has not received approval for the activity. And they're obviously doing this to stir up the shit. This is Trump's administration going into Greenland, doing what they always do. Like in the movies, going to do a bit of Bill Hicks here, where, they put the gun down on the table and go on, pick it up. Go on, pick it up. Because if the Greenlandic authorities block this drilling, or there is some kind of violence that is meted out, it gives Trump the excuse that he needs to attack Greenland. Don't forget, Greenland stopped drilling new oil licenses 5 years ago, and the government in Greenland has issued a strong warning that logistics and drilling require permission from the government. Trump can't just turn up and start drilling in someone else's country. But that's what they're planning to do in October this year. This is the power that the oil companies have over us. And this is why, I laugh when I'm going, behind the car and we're going up a hill and he accidentally puts himself into fourth instead of into second. And, I cruise past him in my electric car, but I also cry at the fact that we're here in 2026 and we're still using internal combustion engine cars, disgusting, dirty, polluting oil. And we're still dependent, we're still suckling on the teat of the Middle East, of Libya and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and countries like Angola and Russia, and these petro states that have got more money than sense, and they're often a lot of people in these countries live in abject fucking poverty, while the people, the oil companies are making out like bandits. Have a look what's happening in Nigeria. They should be making a ton out of the oil. They make fuck all out of the oil. All they do is have loads of polluted fucking land, loads of wildlife just killed, loads of water courses polluted with this disgusting, dirty, black, toxic substance that we dig out the ground. This stuff that'll kill you if you drink it, or kill you if you use it for anything, other than, I don't know, making plastic. And that just kills everything in the sea, doesn't it? Got a huge problem here in Durham at the moment. Actually up in Tynemouth, where there's been a nurdles. These are little tiny pellets of a plastic that are used. These little spheres of plastic that are used to make plastic products. Anyway, there was a container fell overboard or something, and now we've got millions and millions and millions of these nurdles washing up on the beach, and having to spend so much money getting these nurdles off the beach. It's all oil. It's all oil. It's just like an oil spill, except it's plastic. Homelessness rocketed under the 14 years of Tory government because of the cruel austerity programme. Cuts to housing allowances, legal aid being restricted. Yeah. Tories should be addressing homelessness rather than suggesting on ways to cruelly increase the problem. Yeah, but Tories love homeless people. They love homeless people. Well, they don't actually love the people who are homeless. They love the idea of homeless people because it's like, look what happens. Keep paying your mortgage, lads. Keep paying your rent because that's what will happen. So keep working. Don't kick off about anything that's going on. You know, don't make a stand. Don't make a fuss. Keep your head down. Work. Because otherwise you'll end up like that. Anyway, so Trump, meanwhile, has offered $1 billion in security assistance for Colombia's new government. New president, Abelardo, I'm probably saying that wrong, de la Esprila, is a Trump ally. He took office last week. Oh no, it was this week actually. It was yesterday. He took office yesterday, and he's a Trump wannabe. So Trump likes him. So he's going to give $1 billion. He's going to give $1 billion to him, just like he gave $40 billion in used banknotes to his mate Milei in Argentina to help. That taxpayers' money, American taxpayers' money, going to the people going to the governments of Argentina. It's mind blowing, that, isn't it? There's lots of skills and labour shortages, so why not allow people who want to work and train to fill them? Refugees are the most likely people to start businesses. Can we have more, please? Yeah, Adrian, I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. It'd be interesting to find out how many foreign nationals are actually social housing tenants, though I suspect what that not really means is anyone who's non-white. Well, it's anyone who's European. There's a lot of people who have lived here for years. We were part of the EU and now got settled status, which isn't as settled as it should be. Agents, talking back to usury. Usury was banned. Joint ownership was and is the solution in traditional Christianity, including true Orthodox Christianity plus Islam. Use this with a charity I chair on my property here in Portugal. Yeah. But it's a loophole. It's a loophole. It's exactly the same thing, but we've got to take, and it's the way that humans come up with ingenious solutions to getting at the problems that they created, because they wrote down the rules. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. They weren't written by an archangel. They were written by humans. You know, we have this rule. And I'm like, oh God, we've got to find ways of getting around this rule now. You say allies. They still all hate him. He generally doesn't realise it though, says Ben Riddings. He turned up this week with a new wig. Trump's got a new wig. He's got a new syrup, which is he's trying to look like his mum. Kind of weird, kind of gender affirming, as far as I'm concerned. You know, like telling the army that they've got to have more testosterone. Is that gender affirming care? Kind of like getting your wife to have a tit job. Is that gender affirming care? Is it, Mr. Trump? Your wife's tit job? Is that? Anyway, so imagine being too old for Epstein and being sold from Epstein because you're 21 or something. You know, you're past it. I bet you were lucky in your day and all that jazz. Being sold to Trump like some fucking shell. It's just fucking madness, isn't it? This is the world we live in. Anyway, meanwhile, Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Pakistan have signed a defense pact. This pact commits them to mutual defense cooperation, and it's been signed amid wider instability across the Middle East. And Pakistan has already deployed troops and aircraft and air defenses to Saudi Arabia during the Iran conflict. Don't forget, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, majority Sunni Muslim countries, whereas Iran is a majority Shia or Shiite country. Anyway, what else have we got? So Pacific Island foreign ministers failed to agree a joint response to China's missile launch in July. So the Chinese launched a missile in international waters in the Pacific, and Kiribati and Nauru reportedly declined to back the proposed wording. I think that Nauru get a lot of money from China. I don't know. Maybe there were that because there's some countries that were pro Taiwan, and then the ones that were pro China, and depending on who was paying them the most money, they would go that way. A lot of corruption in the UN. Don't forget the tiny island nation of Nauru, which I've been to. Spent 4 days there once. Is a population of 10,000 people, something like that. Has the same number of votes in the UN as India, with 1.4 billion people. Yep, same number of votes. One. Crazy days. I see a federal judge has ordered an immediate halt to Trump's ballroom. Yeah, not that they're going to pay any attention to it, but God, did you see the statues? Did you see those gold statues that Trump had put on the cemetery? And they look so, and all of the gold in the White House. Someone said he's made the White House look like a Thai restaurant, which he absolutely has. Hey, Sarah Davis, thank you very much. Trump's wig looks like the blonde from the band cartoons. Thanks very much for that super chat there, Sarah. That's very kind of you. We'll press the subscribe button instead of the super chat button. Whoopsies. For your information, Trump has actually had his hairline lowered. Yes, actual gender affirming surgery. This info comes thanks to one of Epstein's interviews. Gender affirming care. But yeah, so we've also got this horrible story that came out yesterday about a 14-year-old who killed his grandparents before opening fire in a school in Bangkok, and the PM of Thailand, Anutin Charnvirakul, says that the new gun control legislation will be proposed. This is a country with like 10 million firearms, so I'm really hoping that they clamp down on it, because every country where they've had a big ban on guns, like they had in Australia in the wake of the Port Arthur massacre in the mid-90s, and we had in the UK after the Dunblane massacre. I think it was a year later, the Dunblane massacre. Incredibly successful. There hasn't been a single massacre since. The bedroom tax wasn't intended to help people to downsize, as pensioners, who are the biggest group of people living with spare bedrooms, are exempt from said bedroom tax. Yeah, well, you know, old people, they need looking after. They need to be able to buy those, go on those cruises. The cruises aren't going to buy themselves. I mean, they're expensive. It's like $5,000 for 14 days. That's a lot of money. $5,000 each, by the way, each of $10,000 for two people. Anyway, U.S. court has blocked Trump's $400 million White House ballroom. Oh, sorry, this is on my notes. Someone just pointed this out. Yes. So a U.S. appeals court has halted the above ground construction of Trump's planned $400 million ballroom. Historic East Wing has already been demolished for the project, and the court has ruled major structural changes require congressional approval. Underground security work related can continue, and Trump is saying he's going to appeal to the Supreme Court. What do you think they're going to say? Yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir. That's what they're going to say. Okay, so moving on, we're going to have a quick look at the papers, quick squiz at the papers. We've got Michael Jordan comes clean on the ordeal that nearly ruined him. Then we've got Infantino's lover was paid off by UEFA. Revelation of 6-figure leaving package will increase pressure on FIFA boss. UEFA paid off an alleged mistress of Fanny Infantino while he was general secretary. Oh, he's got to go, hasn't he? He's got to go. Look at him looking like the fucking hood from Thunderbirds. Burnham considers about turn on releasing PC Harbour's killers. I think that would be a good move, Mr. Prime Minister. FBI, how about an about turn on this trans guidance that is unworkable and unthinkable and unconscionable? How about a U-turn on that? Go on, do it. It's an easy win. It's an easy win, Mr. Burnham. It's an easy win, lad. Come on, lad. Come here. Listen, let me put something in your shell like here. It's a fucking easy win, lad. It's an easy win. And also, it's the right thing to do. More importantly. Okay, so back to the papers. FBI claims British Muslim charity bankrolling Hamas. We've got nationalising water risks costing 140 billion pounds. This story here, I just get my mouse over it. This story here, I mean, it does sound like scare storyness, right? It's just being a scare story, but it's probably true. It's probably, I mean, that's probably not 140 billion. It's probably a lot less than that, but it is going to cost a lot of money to nationalize the water because these water companies are in so much fucking debt. Now, I'm tempted to just tell all the fucking creditors to fuck off and just, but also there's the amount, it's not just the debt. We could tell them to fuck off and just take it over, but also these companies are committed to infrastructure works, building new reservoirs, and stuff like that. And if they don't do it, then we, the taxpayer, are going to have to do it instead. No, the government's going to have to do it, and it's going to cost a lot more money. So yeah, it's really grim. It's really grim in our sewers. And then we got Tony charged with assault over headbutt. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's all about, my friend. And then we've got the plot to kill Messi and World Cup terror. US reveal GOAT was prime target. I don't know if he's the greatest of all time. He's all right. He plays for the wrong team, though. Anyway, then we got the I weekend. Take control of tap water and tackle pollution, sewage, dumps, and leaks. Sewage dumps. Sewage, dumps, and leaks. There should be another comma there. Labour, mayors, and campaigners call on PM to act now to solve crisis. Andy Burnham is told to bring forward plans to take control of tap water to fix England's sewage crisis and shore up supplies as millions face hosepipe bans amid drought. PM has signalled his support for public control of scandal-hit water firms, but has not set out any details, with London and Northern mayors calling for swift action. Landmark analysis this week reveals every river and lake in England is polluted with toxic chemicals, while leaky pipes and lose 2.6 billion litres of water every day. Wow, that's crazy, isn't it? Boy, do they like him. Farage's Clacton win may be secure, but his political future is not. They like him in Clacton, but, that's Clacton for you. Do you know who grew up in Clacton? Norman Lovett. The guy who played Holly. He grew up in... He wasn't born in Clacton, but he grew up in Clacton. Pandas eat shoots and leaves. Well, in Australia, there was there's an animal that eats roots and leaves, and in Australia, root is to have sex. So yeah, depending on where you put your comma there. Eat shoots and leaves. The flesh-eating virus. Some new information on this. It mutated. The virus bonded with itself and mutated to human form. Latest intelligence states 6 in prison cell next to Andrew Tate. Yep, he's next to a cannibal who sings all night or something. What's rather concerning story about how a effective sex offender was allowed out on bail and went on to commit at least 2 murders and 7 more rapes. Yeah, we're going to see if that's actually covered in any of the newspapers. I'm not going to hold my breath on this one, but it might be. It's a really horrific story. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, says Holly Willoughby. Cup of tea? Willoughby, cup of tea. Then we've got net zero plans rolled back, which I mentioned this morning. Look at that. That's a fantastic picture of a dolphin jumping out the water in Dorset. That's a really cool picture. That's a very small dolphin as well. It's a little baby dolphin, well, adolescent dolphin. Ricky Gervais, I can't wait for people to be offended. Fuck off, Ricky Gervais. Fuck off, Ricky Gervais. You're nothing without Stephen Merchant. Nothing, I tell you. Then we've got 2/3 of NHS trusts set to cut mental health care, which is fucking shit news. Bella Ramsey there on child stardom and celebrity traitors. Bella Ramsey of The Worst Witch fame. You may know her from Game of Thrones. She's the little girl who took out a giant. And you may know her from The Last of Us. There you go. And I'm saying her. She's actually, I think she's non-binary, so I should say them. You should know them. By the Trail of the Dead. Russia link to far-right Ceuta posts. This is Russia-linked extreme accounts. Spreading extreme narrative online during the Ceuta missile crisis. Missile migration. I can't read this morning. Sorry. 2 weeks that rocked football, and there's a football next to Gianno Infantino, who looks like a football. Horror as 7 killed in Thai school shooting. Who's covered that? Let's move on. We've got the weekend. We've got UK curbed power exports to Europe. Effort to preserve supplies. Heat wave triggers demand surge. Move follows June squeeze. We've got bunker bet. Mega rich eye Argentina plan. Then we've got Watchdog looks to stop Aldi and Lidl thwarting rival group store openings. And then we've got school fee haggling is no longer the privilege of the few. So there you go. Something about private schools. Don't give a fuck. Go away, private schools. You're not wanted here. And this is the guy, Sean Levy. His name is. This is a story that was. I think this needs to be covered more. Tube monster bailed to rape and murder. Kemi leads chorus of outrage over sex predator reportedly free to carry on attacking women. And the more you read into this story, the more disturbing it gets. It does look like the Met Police colluded in allowing this guy to get away with rape, sexual assault. They even gave him his free travel pass back. Which wasn't a real travel pass, by the way. It was, he shouldn't have had it. It was out of date or illegal or something. Like, they gave it his travel pass back, and this was a guy known for assaulting women on trains. And he ended up killing 2 women. He killed 2 women on bail. And this is another failing from the institutionally sexist Met. But, you know, tell me about how the trans people are a threat to women. You know, when you've got the Met Police doing shit like this, letting out people like him, right, like Sean Levy, letting them out to go and commit the most horrific acts you could possibly commit. Women killed, and then ignored. Apparently, some of the women that he assaulted were sex workers. Like, that makes any difference? Have we not moved on from the fucking days of Jack the Ripper? Of the Yorkshire Ripper? Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? So disgusting. Anyway, from Kemi to Kemi, my cancer scare. Footy pundits fears over tests for deadly prostate disease. He revealed he had a prostate cancer scare after a routine blood test. That's not good, is it? And then, we went to Google there. We went to Google. Didn't mean to Google you there. And then we've got the story also covered in the Express here. Sex predator let out to kill. A serial sex attacker was left free to kill, likely to die behind bars after being convicted for murdering 2 women and raping another. Let's have a look. There's nothing on the front cover there about the Met. And I noticed there's nothing on the Mail about the Met failings. This is a failing of the Met, the Metropolitan Police. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And the way that our society is set up, you know, our culture is set up to just allow these monsters to do these things. And then the way it's reported, it's not like this is a massive failing of the Met. Not even mentioned on the front cover there of the Express. I didn't see the word Met on the front cover of the Mail either, and I do believe that it was the Met who fucked up there, and those 2 women would be alive right now if it wasn't for the Metropolitan Police and their institutional misogyny, their institutional sexism, which the current Met Police chief denies happens. He doesn't believe that the Met is institutionally sexist, you know, because he's not experienced it. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. A man in his 60s, a white middle-aged man, has never seen any kind of, you know, sexism. You know what? I've never seen any racism. I just never seen it, you know, because I'm white. Never seen that racism. No one's ever said. Do you know what? The one thing I would say is, like, when people have a few drinks in them, when people who aren't very nice have a few drinks in them, they'll often say things that are horrifically sexist, homophobic, transphobic, racist, Islamophobic. And that needs to be taken into account, especially with police officers, but it isn't. Because, you know, if the chief of police wasn't there, then did it really happen? Chris, they refute science. That's why there were no defense in court. They tried to stop puberty blockers trial. It's in the hands of the real scientists. We know it's safe. We'll rip apart the cast review. Yeah, the cast review. I mean, She's going to be in trouble if she wants to use the toilet in future, isn't she? I fear that we could find that information that sex matters is linked to Adolf Hitler and Nazism, and the British public wouldn't bat an eyelid. Yeah. Well, there used to be no transphobic organisations in Britain. Now there's 53. Work that one out. The organisations that are there just to be transphobic, paid for by some of the world's richest people, richest institutions. They wrote the guidance: more cis women will be harmed than trans. It's going to collapse under its own weight. Yeah. The guidance is fucked. The guidance is never going to work. And in fact, look, I like to think of things, and then the possible positives of things that can come out of stuff. And I'm hoping against hope that this trans guidance will expose the stupidity at the heart of transphobia, which means that you can't check. Who's going to check? Who is going to check? No one's going to check. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? There's a story on the BBC site about how Anne Widdecombe's the police who are investigating Anne Widdecombe's murder are reopening the investigation into an incident at Farage's home, an attempted burglary, which kind of suggests that the fella who killed Anne Widdecombe may have actually tried to go after Farage first. Unfortunately, that's going to bolster Nigel Farage's argument that he needs more protection. I just wish these fucking nutters would see the law of unintended consequences. Anyway, digital cameras and wide earphones are back and a bit more real. Okay. Burnham is really pissing me off now, says one angry pagan in capitals. So I think, I kind of get a bit angry there. He, in his defense, one angry pagan, and don't get angry at me for saying this. Well, you're angry already, so don't get angrier. He has only been in the job for 3 weeks. And there's a lot of shit to do. But there's a couple of things, quick wins that he could have, which are not just quick wins, but they're the right thing to do, Andy. They're the right thing to do. Policing in Britain is a bit hard for North Americans, especially modern 2026 Americans, to understand how the old bill, policing by consent of the people, etc. And we don't have guns. The police don't have guns. There's a special firearms unit, but the police, bobbies on the beat, do not have guns. Have you ever seen a copper with a gun when you've been travelling and thought, oh, I'm feeling more safe now? I haven't. Transphobia is like the migrant crisis, an invented phenomenon used as a weapon against progressive thinking, says Alan Barker. Alan, you are completely correct. I'm going to sign off in a few moments' time. If anyone wants to drop a couple more super chats in before I go, then we will be able to unleash the Bin Pfeffy cannon. So I'll give it a few more minutes to see if anyone's up for doing that. And in the meantime, I'll read a few more of your messages here. Chris C. Badnock can't talk as that monster was committing the majority of his crimes when the Tories were in government. Very good point. Notice how the only two papers who are covering the story are two right-wing papers. I wonder if that has anything to do with the ethnicity of the offender. Yeah, and they've both gone in for the offender, haven't they? Both of those newspapers have gone in for this is the guy, this is the monster, and he happens to be black. Rather than going after obviously he should go to jail for the rest of his fucking miserable, godforsaken life. He should rot in a cell for all I fucking care. He should be given a pill, and if he wants the pain to go away, he can take the pill. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not up for state-sanctioned murder by any stretch of the imagination. But if you want to, if the trash wants to take itself out, far be it from me to stop them. However, having said all that, I think the other villain in this story is the Metropolitan Police, not covered by the paper there. Sarah Davis, £1 super chat. Oh, thank you, Sarah. That's very kind of you, but it doesn't count towards the goal for the because it's got to be £2 or more. But it's fine, because what I'll do is if you get one more super chat, I will unleash Bin Pfeffy for you, Sarah. For you, I will unleash Bin Pfeffy on the cisgender victims of transphobia. Can I put the case of Tabitha Chawinga on your radar? A female footballer forced to strip to prove her gender at the age of 13 and again at 14. Oh my god. Oh my giddy aunt. It would have taken him 2 seconds to pause it. Pause what? Pause what? Kit, pause what? I'm missing what people are talking about. He needs to cancel the guidance and change the Equality Act. He won't, says Black Dot Dot. Well, he won't unless we tell him to. He needs to tell him to. He needs to tell him that that's what he's got to do. The Equality Act needs to be amended using a statutory instrument to say that trans women are women. There you go. End of. Can you exclude a trans woman who has a gender recognition certificate from a female-only space? No. That's it. No. Don't care. But I don't want to see trans women in this space. It gives me consent. Okay, fine. Go somewhere else. Don't give a fuck. You know? What about people who don't want to see Muslim people? What about people who don't want to see black people? What about people who don't want to see ginger people? What about them? What about their genuine concerns? What about making them feel uneasy? Oh, there's a black person in the room. I want rid of them because I'm not black. No, fuck that shit. If you've got a gender recognition certificate, you're not a man in a wig. You're not a man in a wig who's going out to fucking attack women in the toilet, which is something that never happens. Oh, except in fucking, it's Psycho, isn't it? Psycho. This is Psycho syndrome. A fucking movie from 66 years ago. Because he dressed up as his mum and then went and killed someone. Because that's what trans people do, you know? They dress up as the mum and go and kill someone. Black Dot Dot, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Yay! Get the troll to talk about trans rights, Graham. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you for your confidence in me at being able to Gemma and Marina to tell them what to talk about. I'll give it a go. I do mention it to them, but I'll try. I'll try my best. I promise. I'll try my best. And Ryan Burke has just dropped £2 in the super chat. That has meant that the Kenfefe cannon has gone off in the chat there, or in the chat there, or down there, or wherever the chat is for you. So now that means I am well within my rights to launch the Bin Fefe. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bin Fefe! Ha 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 ha! Count Bin Face! Have you heard this song yet? It's great. Bin Face. He's done a cover of National Express by the Divine Comedy. Raiding green transition funds and pushing back green goals was not needed. For fuck's sake, utter disappointment for short-term sweeties, Graham. I don't know. I need to look more into it. One Angry Pagan, because this is all, we're in the silly season at the moment, and that in September, I guess we'll find out what the government is pushing for. But if they're looking at the numbers and people are going to go to electric cars anyway, for instance, because they're just better, it'd be like putting giving people a subsidy to play Grand Theft Auto 6. Do you know what I mean? In a few years' time, it's going to be like, who doesn't want to play Grand Theft Auto 6? If I'm ever challenged, I will strip naked there and then. Says Tiz. Yeah. It would have taken Burnham 2 seconds to pause the rollout of the guidance and stop segregation. Yeah, kids, I think I might have done. I don't know enough about it to know what powers that the Prime Minister has to say, stop this nonsense. But that guidance is shite. But don't worry too much, because the guidance is going to be shown to be evidentially shite. And it's going to be horrible. Like, you know, my heart goes out so much to my trans friends who are having to put up with this shit. But what's going to happen, right? There's going to be a couple of things here, right? First of all, venues. I've talked about venues not knowing what to do and not having cubicles that go from floor to ceiling and all this kind of shit, right? They're going to be put into this horrible situation where they can be sued by trans people for discrimination against trans people, and they can be sued now by cisgender people for discrimination against cisgender people. They're fucked if they do, they're fucked if they don't, by this guidance, which is as clear as mud. It's 300 odd fucking pages of nonsense, right? And the other thing that's going to happen, right, is there's going to be a lot of cisgender women who are going to be challenged, who've gone about their whole life and never thought about how they look, how they present themselves. You're going to have a lot of postmenopausal women who are going out, trying to go for a piss, and then there's going to be some fucking Karen, some turf in the toilet going, I don't want you to piss in here. You don't look feminine enough for my liking. And that cisgender woman is going to be fucking devastated. She's going to be absolutely devastated. And it's going to happen again and again and again around the country. It's already happening to people who are non-binary. It's already happening to, obviously, to trans women. It's going to happen more and more to cisgender women who are not seen as good looking enough to use the toilet. And that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to be women who are not good looking enough to go for a piss, which is just fucking crazy. I mean, just how did we get here? How did we get here? I think this guidance is going to collapse under its own weight of its own fucking stupidity. And I'm not one of these people who thinks, everything's got to get really bad before it gets good. But I do think that this might prove to people who are not trans, who are not having to put up with this shit every day, what it's like to be challenged and what it's like to be told you don't belong. And the more people who experience that, because the reason they went after trans people in the first place is because there's so few trans people comparatively to the population of the planet. There's very few trans people. Yeah, go after them. They can't fight back. Easy target. Yeah, so, I have a very strong feeling that Burnham is going to keep pissing me off. Well, yeah, one angry pagan. I think he's got off on the wrong foot with you there. And, I think he's just going to make you angrier and angrier. Sorry. Anyway, right, so I'm going to wrap up now. So thank you very much. I won't be doing a show tomorrow. I'll be traveling tomorrow, so I won't be doing a show tomorrow. But I might do a little show tonight. If you're lucky. And until then, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like if you like this shit. Give us a subscribe and also hit the bell notification icon. That'll be awesome. And until next time, I'll say thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.